GNC-556. It's Tuesday, March 2nd, and you're listening to the Geek News Central podcast, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a program of the Tech Podcast Network. Yes, folks, I'm still here from, of course, the big news of the weekend. No tsunami, no big tsunami. But anyway, got a great show for you, a tsunami of a show. So strap in, here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There's no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Todd Cochran, of course, and make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content. Of course, check out our archive podcast available via the podcast link on the website. For those of you that are new to the show, welcome to the show. Hey, thanks for checking us out, and we hope that you'll get subscribed. You can do that by subscribing to the podcast via the RSS feed or iTunes or Zune Marketplace. You can find that on the website, of course, at geeknewscentral.com. And you want to get signed up for our newsletter as well. The newsletter contains everything that I'm going to talk about during today's show and have all the links to all of the content. It will have listener-submitted links as well. If you have comments on today's show, you can send me an email at geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, or you can call the voicemail hotline at +1 619-342 7365. I need to reach back here and turn something down a little bit. We're a little hot tonight. And maybe it's just me getting up close on the mic, but yeah, that's better on the recorder. I'm not overdriving things. But I got a great show for you. And wow, what a weekend. I'm going to tell you, it was pretty interesting around here. Friday, the kids and I were watching some TV, of course, my wife too, and she fell asleep pretty early, and I sent the kids to bed at a decent time because they had to go to Civil Air Patrol Saturday morning and had to get up bright and early for that. And I kind of had insomnia, and I just couldn't sleep, so I was channel surfing, and I don't know, I was over on some HD channel at 12:57 a.m. Saturday morning. Civil Defense Honolulu started lighting all of the television screens up here announcing a tsunami warning. And, folks, we get advisories all the time. We never get warnings. I think the last warning was in 96. And so I kind of like, what's going on? I didn't know anything about the earthquake in Chile, which is devastating in itself. Absolutely horrible. Here we've got the Haiti earthquake. Now we've got the Chile earthquake, 8.8, I guess, or 8.9, whatever the magnitude on that was. And, of course, anything that is of that magnitude and it's offshore and we're part of basically the ocean floor changes, that just generates a wave that is not good. And, of course, there was some pretty big tsunamis there along the South American coast. And, of course, projections for pretty much the rest of Pacific Rim. So I basically went right over to the keeping this bookmarked. And now I'm up high. I'm 1,000 feet above sea level, but I've got a lot of friends that live down at sea level. But pretty much everyone in Hawaii keeps the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, whatever they call it, bookmarked in our browsers. And I bounced right over there immediately, and of course saw the warning notice. And then I saw that it was not arriving in Hawaii until 11:19 a.m. that following morning. So I just, I said, okay, nothing I can do. And I watched TV for about another hour. Had surfed the internet, checking out all the news about the earthquake down in Chile. And went to bed and told this is about 2. And I went to bed and told my wife, hey, the kids don't need to go to CAP in the morning because I knew they were going to a beach cleanup. I said, that's done. And I slept about 2 hours, and the phone started ringing. Everybody that I knew on the mainland had woke up, and it was, of course, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they were worried about me. So my phone starts ringing at 4 o'clock, and yes, I know it's 7 hours away. Don't worry, we're okay. And just, and by about 5:30, my mom waited until like 5:45, and she called, and I said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm getting out of bed. And a few minutes later, the CAP coordinator called and said, hey, we're canceled. And I'm like, well, I wasn't going to send him anyway. And so what was kind of cool was, being, I'm up, I'm awake. The kids are having to get up anyway. They think they're going to CAP. So I just let them get up, let them get dressed. They were going to be wearing sweats and a T-shirt. They weren't wearing any type of, anything official. And they got all ready to go. So, okay, Dad, we're ready to go. And I'm like, hey, you're not going anywhere except we're cleaning house and doing the garage and cleaning the shed. And he says, we're not going anywhere. So for about the next 3 or 4 hours, we rushed around here and really kind of took care of a bunch of stuff. It was kind of cool. Then some friends started showing up that were evacing up to our place. And I think I brought the stream up live about 11. And maybe 10, about 10 my time. And it was simulcast in KGMB. I think it's the CBS channel here. And we all waited at the 11:09 mark, and of course, nothing happened. And we waited another 20 minutes, and finally something did happen. There was some tidal surge, water being pulled out and pushed back in Hilo Bay. Pretty impressive, to be honest with you. And if, for any of you that have ever been over in Hilo Bay, imagining the bay emptying in about 10 minutes, pretty remarkable. It just like you could see this torrent of water being sucked out and then the torrent of water being pushed back in. So really, it was more like a tidal surge, and we had some action here in close to my house, down the hill into the Barbers Point area. But other than that, Saturday was just a wash. We didn't even go anywhere. We stayed home. Actually, my friend said, man, I got so much done Saturday. I drove to this store and that store. No traffic. I got like 20 things done around town. Because, see, really the only thing that was affected was waterfront, this inundation zone. Not everything. So everybody else was staying home. And the smart folks went out to Costco and went all these places, and boom, 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 they were able to get through because there was no lines, and they were able to get in and get out. I said, you were the smart ones. I should have done the same thing. But we're still here. Thank goodness there was a non-event for us here in Honolulu. But it was a good drill to go through. And I think it was the first time that the world has ever watched potentially of a tsunami coming in. I think there was at one time like nearly 120,000 people watching the CBS stream. CNN had picked up some other people's stream, was doing an actual watching it, picking up from someone's website. We didn't have a lot. Maybe we had 80 or 90 in my stream because the other stream was available live. I was doing ad hoc commentary, really it was kind of boring, to be honest with you. But I got a number of emails saying, are you going to come up? Are you going to stream live? And really, I can't see nothing from here. So there was nothing to see except what was on TV, which was being carried nationally anyway. But I was twittering almost immediately about the warning. And there was a lot of people awake at 12:57 because there was about 50 Twitters before I twittered. And I twittered within about 2 minutes of the announcement coming out. So kind of a crazy weekend, but the folks down in Chile, we've got them in our thoughts and prayers, and hope that things work out well down there for them and they're able to recover. It's just horrible. You never know. And I've been through a big earthquake myself as well and understand the impact. And yeah, someone in chat said that New Zealand and some other places got a surge as well. And I don't know how much damage other areas incurred, but anytime you think tidal wave or tsunami, it gets the old hair standing up on the back of your neck. All right, enough on that. Let me go ahead and move into this is the first show of a new month. And, of course, I want to thank the sponsors. I want to thank all of you for supporting the sponsors last month. And I hope as we continue into March and a great amount of content that's going to be coming out over this month, I hope that you'll continue to support the sponsors as well. They really are the ones that pay my bills, keep my lights on, and keep my family fed. It's very important for for you to support them if you can. It's greatly appreciated when you do. I see the end result of that. I'll probably get a report tomorrow morning to let me know how I did this month as far as for GoDaddy and the different advertisers as well. We're still looking to launch Audible, waiting for an insertion order from them, so hopefully they'll be coming online here in the next couple of days as well. Not on this show, but for some of our other podcasters as well. Hey, South by Southwest, Austin. Boy, I tell you, now that I'm going and really going to be on the ground for 3.5 days during the show before I have to fly out for San Francisco Monday afternoon, I'm really pretty excited. And I got some emails, actually. The founder of Podcast Pickle at podcastpickle.com. He's going to be coming down. I think Gary and I are going to be hanging out a little bit, and along with some folks from my team. We're actually going to be flying in on Saturday as well. I'm going to be kind of doing, I don't know exactly how I'm going to, because I'm going solo. I'm going to be taking a high-def camera, and I'm going to be taking everything that I need to do live streaming video and audio recording. And it's going to be what it is. I don't really have a game plan because I've never attended this event, but I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of hallway action, and I'm actually going to look to order a monopod that will stand by itself, and hopefully I can have that so I can set that up and maybe do some quick interviews. Who knows? We're just going to let it go and see what happens. I've heard Leo Laporte and his group going to be down there doing live streaming and a big full production, big staff, and stuff that costs lots of money, and that is not an option for this show. Because we don't have a sponsor to go down for the show, obviously, but we definitely want to. I'm going to go down there and kind of feel it out, see what we can do in a follow-on year at South by Southwest, and sample some of the parties. That'll be the hard part: going to sessions and meeting people during the day, then partying half the night. I'm like, I don't know if I can handle more than 2 or 3 days. I think I'm going to be drinking a lot of water. I can't imagine boozing it up like a lot of folks do, just because it would seem like it would ruin your next day events. You're always, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I won't be able to hold myself back. But what I'm planning on doing is there will be a normal show. I'm looking at the calendar here. Here in Honolulu on Thursday, there'll be a normal night show recorded for a Friday morning release. Monday show will go off just like normal. I fly down on Wednesday the 10th, get in there in the afternoon of the 11th. So what I'm expecting the show on the 11th to be short. I'll probably, I'll do one. It'll be a short show. It's not going to be a full-blown show. But depending on I'm still working on my flight schedule to get to San Fran, to get into Silicon Valley for the meetings on the 16th. So the Monday of the 15th show will probably be a South by Southwest recap. Be playing you some audio clips of some stuff I've got down there. Should be a lot of fun. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of play it by ear, but there will be shows put out on schedule. I won't miss that. But it'll be fun over here the next couple of weeks. I am going to be traveling a lot, probably through the end of the month. Once I leave here on the 10th, I'm probably going to be gone 20 days. It's looking like now before I get back to Honolulu. Lots of stuff in the irons in the fire, I guess, for a better word. So we'll keep you advised on that and be having some meetups this time for sure. Definitely planning on doing one in Silicon Valley. I expect that's going to happen the night of the 19th. So if you're in the Valley or in San Francisco or striking distance, the night of the 19th, we're going to do a meetup in the Valley. If you're in the Austin area, we probably can do something. If you guys are coming to South by Southwest, I could probably niche some time out to do that as well. So let me know if you're within striking distance of Austin or if you're coming to South by Southwest, and we'll definitely hook up and meet. And it may be at the event or one of the venues or something to that effect. But some drinks will be on me. Probably there's going to be plenty of cocktails free anyway, but we'll see you there. Okay, again, San Jose, 15th through the 19th, flying back to Dallas on the 20th. NAB, my team's planning on NAB. That goes down in April. So we're going to be there. Matter of fact, we're kind of on the hunt for a freelance PR person right now. So if you fit that bill, let me know. Send me an email on that. Crazy stuff going on here. The last show recording, everything was perfect with the good and steady recording machine. I don't know what's going on. The Zoom H4n that I bought is acting as a backup, but I kind of didn't want to spend the money, but I couldn't afford to lose another show. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe this thing's going to work out okay and not give him any more hassles. But we got to back up one way, or irregardless. Don't forget, you can get stickers and swag by sending a self-stamped addressed envelope to me here at Geek News Central. The actual address you can send that to will be in the show notes. So feel free to send me a self-stamped envelope, and I'll send you some stickers and stuff back as a swag giveaway. Crazy weather here in Honolulu too. Howling windy. I mean, it was blowing. I got tree branches down in the yard. Yes, I have trees, not palm trees, but I have tree branches down there. It's been nuts. It's been really weird. It is winter here in Honolulu. Okay, that's enough on that. Let's go ahead and take care of a little business here before we get into the regular content of the show, and see if I can actually do this correctly here and see if this is actually set up here. Hey, if you're looking for a domain name, looking for a dedicated server, or looking for a virtual dedicated server, shared hosting account, whatever it may be, GoDaddy.com really is the place that you want to go. GoDaddy's been a longtime sponsor here of the show. They've got great online products, whether it be, again, a web hosting account, domains. If you're looking for to pick up some domains that are actually available as in part of their auction service, you can use that, or all the other host of services they have available. When you get to that checkout counter, don't forget me here at Geek News Central, because, yes, they do keep the lights on, and it's greatly appreciated your support. That promo code Todd will save you 10% on non-domain orders. Geek5 will save you 15% on orders $20 or more. ComSale will get you .coms at $7.49 on renewals or new purchases. And, of course, that Todd20 code will get you 20% off on a 1-year shared hosting account. I do have some, if you need an SSL certificate, I do have a promo code for that. You can find a link to all my promo codes for a variety of circumstances there's a link to it in the second column of the website, GoDaddy promo codes. Go ahead and check that out and save yourself some money with GoDaddy. Now, we do have, from time to time, the need to have a little bit of discussions with clients. And living here in Honolulu, I can't afford to get on an airplane like I do all the time to be able to go somewhere. And you're the same way. You have to have, you may not even have time to leave the office for lunch. So consider this. You're on the phone with a client or a colleague trying to explain something visual, a PowerPoint presentation, a website. And, that's something that's cool, too, about website design. If you're working with the developer or if you're trying to pass ideas, the only way you really can do it is point at it and circle stuff and draw arrows, and you do the typical draw lines on the screen. And you can do that with GoToMeeting. But, it's frustrating. They can't see you talking about this stuff. It really doesn't make any sense. So you can invite folks with a single click of a button to join you in an online meeting using GoToMeeting. They can see your computer desktop on their computer screen. So you can show them what you're talking about. As you know, I use GoToMeeting almost every day, and I use it all the time, again, to collaborate with colleagues and clients. You can try GoToMeeting free for 30 days just by visiting GoToMeeting.com/techpodcast. That's GoToMeeting.com/techpodcast for a free 30-day demo, and thanks for GoToMeeting for being a longtime sponsor here. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the regular content tonight. Again, thanks to sponsors for continued support of the show. I want to show you guys something, too. And I've gotten a couple of comments on this. Let me actually put this up live for you guys. They're on Ustream. You see this picture? YouTube, you never know what you're going to get with YouTube. YouTube has got a unique way of, usually they pick a pretty good picture, but it looks like I'm, if you're looking at this picture, it's like I'm adjusting or dialing in my headset. I just thought it was funny. That was the one that they picked out. So anyway, I hope you guys got a kick out of it. I did. So it's over at techpodcast.tv if you want to check it out. Feel free to do so. Hey, just want to link up to Dave Weiner's blog post. He was actually walking about the tsunami coverage here in Hawaii, talking about the large number of people that were watching live video feeds. What I had actually wanted to do was go out and get down somewhere close and actually run a live stream, but that was met with scorn and the look down the nose from the missus. She asked me, "Is the insurance paid up? How much insurance do you have again?" And no, she wasn't letting me anywhere close. But what a golden opportunity for someone to be a little nuts and get down close and personal to where this was going to happen. You guaranteed you probably had 100,000 people following you, and probably half the news. I thought I would do is I would go down there with a big sign and hold it up. And, folks that are listening to the show, I've got my hands above my arms, hold up a big poster, and basically walk the reef in Waikiki, and hold up this sign is listen or watch geeknewscentral.com. And I probably would have got a million hits. I probably would have blew my website out. So if we ever here in Honolulu have some sort of a national event again, and I'm thinking, right, I'll have some posters built up and I'll go and get that free advertising. Because I could have went down there, they knew what time this thing was coming in, so I could have went down like 10:30. And then they would have said, "Who's that crazy guy walking out there? He needs to leave." And they'd have focused in on me. Of course, I'd be carrying a sign. It'd have been perfect. Really, wouldn't it have been perfect? What a story. What a way to get millions of dollars in free advertising by doing that. It dawned on me about, 20 minutes into when it was actually supposed to happen. Like, man, I should be down there with a signboard or live streaming, and, it'd have been good. But, yeah, they'd probably labeled me as a nutcase, and probably the networks would have blacked it out and probably said, "Oh, he's just trying to get attention." But it sure would have been fun to have talked to people later on. All right, let's talk a little bit. Let's get off that subject and go into some real techie stuff, okay? Firefox, they're predicting, may never, ever hit 25% market share. And this is interesting. And, I have to admit that the folks at Google have really done a good job with Chrome. And you guys are probably gasping here. But what they're seeing is Firefox right now is at a 24.23% market share, with the Internet Explorer at 61.58. Chrome is still only at 5.6, but what they saw for the first time last month was a few decimal points of drop in Firefox utilization. In other words, the trend went down a little bit. So, if they went down a little bit, if there was a slippage of 0.18 percentage points, and Chrome made that up, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But the Firefox and the Mozilla organization has to be concerned. Only time will tell whether or not this pans out. We'll see what happens with some additional. Actually, that was February numbers, not even January's. So we'll see what happens with this, and if the numbers continue to increase. By the way, you guys like those of you on Ustream, you like my orange shirt tonight? You guys like that? My wife said I should wear something a little brighter. She says, "You're always wearing them blue shirts. Why don't you wear something a little more color in it?" So, what do you guys think? You guys like the color? Does it do me well? All right. It wasn't federal. It was an appeals court has decided that a judge made an incorrect decision in a copyright case where he allowed a young lady who was admitted doing peer-to-peer sharing of 37 songs. She admitted but didn't know that she was committing a copyright violation. So the judge had reduced her damages from $750 per song down to $200 a song. Well, the appeals court basically said no, the judge should not have done that, because every song that we buy, every CD that we buy, comes with a copyright notice. Even though the defendant basically said, "Hey, I didn't ever purchase those CDs, so I didn't see the copyright claim on this." But the judge basically said that the appeal court said that this judge could not limit the damages per song based upon really what is on normal packaging. So this is kind of scary here. It's because CDs contain printed copyright notices. The judge could not claim innocence of the law, even though the gal testified that none of the tracks in question came from compact disc. So this is an interesting move on the appeal court's case. So what's going to happen here is if judges try to reduce the penalty amount based upon a defendant basically saying, I didn't know I was violating copyright, and she was a young teenager, a cheerleader, so she probably knew she wasn't supposed to be doing this, but this she admitted, she said she didn't. Irregardless, $27,750 in damages for 37 songs. So I don't think we're going to see many more reduced, reduced damages to the recording industry based upon, I didn't know defense. Another article over on Ars Technica. Remember that YouTube video of that dancing tot who was dancing to a Prince song? You know that Universal Music had a takedown notice to YouTube. And essentially, the kid's in the video. He's got some glasses on. And he's dancing to Prince's Let's Go Crazy. Sorry for yawning on you there. And the music was not necessarily loud. It was just playing. But they basically said, hey, this is a DMCA violation. And they, made YouTube take it down. Well, good news. Judge Jeremy Fogel granted partial summary judgment to Stephanie Lenz last week in her battle against Universal Music Group, putting a halt on Universal's attempt to paint Lenz as having bad faith and unclean hands in her lawsuit. As a result, the doors have been open for Lenz to collect attorney fees in her case, and the video is back up on YouTube. So this is a little bit of a fair use win by us. And, there's a very innocent action going on. Look how many CDs that probably sold. And, it was cute. Kids dancing to the music. You're gonna maybe you want to go buy Prince Let's Go Crazy. That's a good track. So it's amazing here that we actually won one, folks. And this is we can thank the Electronic Frontier Foundation for this, because they went to battle for this gal. So we'll see what happens if there is more of these type of videos that are able to be put back up now. I'm sure that the recording industry will probably appeal this. But for now, the tot is back up and dancing to Prince Let's Go Crazy. So good news there. Online news has become more popular than reading newspapers in the United States. Well, are we surprised at that? Be honest with you, I get the Sunday newspaper. This is an article over on the BBC. Actually, it hasn't loaded yet for you on Ustream. But they're saying that it is the third most popular form of news behind local and national TV stations, the Pew Research Center said. BBC reports that news awareness is becoming an anytime, anywhere, any device activity for those who want to stay informed. So we all know the New York Times and all the major newspapers have been going through major financial issues. A big newspaper here in Honolulu, the Honolulu Bulletin, the Honolulu Advertiser, is being purchased by the Star Advertiser, which is a complete shock because everyone thought at one time the Advertiser was actually going to be buying the Star Bulletin. So it's kind of a win. Star Bulletin is more of a moderate type of a newspaper, where the Advertiser is kind of more like the New York Times, very left-facing. So this is a pretty big shock to the residents of Honolulu, and this state is very much left-leaning in its population. So it'll be interesting to see as these papers merge, how the tone of the newspaper, the end result is. But anyway, I don't remember. Even when we get the newspaper on Sunday, what do? I go to the middle section where all the ads are at, and I pull the ads out, and my wife takes the coupons. So I maybe look in the Hawaii section, but I rarely go to the front page because generally it's stuff I've already seen 3 days ago. So this should not come as any surprise here that we're all changing our habits. 61% of readers surveyed said they got their news typically online, compared with 78% from local news channels and 71% from a national TV network such as NBC or cable channels such as Fox or CNN. 44% said they listen to radio news programs at home or in the car. Wow. More than 90% use more than one method to get their news, and 57% consult between two and five websites as part of their news gathering. I know during the day when I'm just looking for regular news, I probably look at 3, maybe 4 just regular news sites, so that kind of fits in there. So, kind of interesting. Hey, an update on Microsoft's foiling of a botnet. It's kind of got some mixed responses because it turns out that this botnet was really kind of responsible for like less than 1% of total spam that was being sent in the internet. While some people have been applauding it, others have been kind of like, oh, yawn. But what was unique in this was the actual legal wranglings that Microsoft did. And I did not know exactly how they had pulled this off, but they were able to get this injunction kind of secretly in chambers, in the judge's chambers. And they did this all hush-hush. Now, the government is usually the ones that kind of can get injunctions kind of hush-hush, but this is something that Microsoft employed. I guess that's why they pay their lawyers the big bucks. But anyway, have to, again, say good job for Microsoft on being bullish on going after this peer-to-peer network and getting it, not peer-to-peer network, but this botnet and getting it shut down. So have the link up to that in the show notes. Microsoft is warning of a zero-day hole for older Windows. Microsoft is warning of a new hole on today that could be exploited by attackers to take control of older Windows systems running Internet Explorer, for which proof of concept exploit has been released publicly. Those of you that are running Windows 2000, XP, and Server 2003 base system, do not press the F1 key if you are prompted to when you go to a website. So if you go to a website and they say press F1 to continue, don't press F1. Leave the site immediately. Close your browser, reload. Don't go to that website. The advisory includes several workarounds, including advice to avoid pressing F1 and restricting access to the Windows Help System, setting Internet and local Internet security zone settings to high to block ActiveX controls and active scripting, and configuring IE to prompt before running active scripting or disable active scripting in the Internet and local intranet security zone, or just use Firefox. I think that might do you well as well. They don't tell you that is an alternate way to avoid this. And that article and this article is from the folks over at CNET. Now, I have to admit, these guys were bright until they got caught. Imagine this. You say, I'm always tired of being the last guy to buy tickets online. You hear about a concert. You want to go buy a ticket online, and where you're at. You're up in the nosebleed seats, right? You pay too much money for that. I never, ever am able to get good tickets to events. I'm just always late. I never, I find about stuff too late. It never fails. And apparently, some guys that knew what they were doing in this space, they decided, hey, let's put together a network of computers, and when the sales for the most popular concert go on sale, we'll hit the ticket sales machines with this bank of computers, and we'll buy up all the good tickets automatically. So some of the coveted tickets for performances such as Bruce Springsteen, Hannah Montana, Bon Jovi, Barbara Streisand, she still draws people, Billy Joel, and in 2006 and 2007, including sporting events, they bought up huge numbers of tickets and then resold them online for a profit. They made more than $25 million by reselling more than 1.5 million of the most coveted tickets. These guys are all going to jail. Operating as Wise Guy Tickets. What a name. You're asking for trouble, right? Oh, my goodness. And the men also accused of creating shell corporations, fake domains, and email addresses and aliases to deceive the online ticket vendors. And they did this between 2002 and 2009, and they purchased more than 11,000 tickets. So, wow, they made $25 million just on 11,000 tickets. Don't you think that it would have been advisable not to, they probably could have done this in smaller numbers and not got caught? But no, no, no. I go, if you're in pound, if you're in for a penny, oh man, that's something a geek would think up. But you would have to sit back and go, Usually there's a little thing on this scalping, is usually illegal. These guys they're going to go spend time in the big house, 25 million bucks. Wonder what they're going to get for time on that or a penalty. Oh, it says here, 10 years in each of the 19 counts. They could get 10-year prison sentence for each of the 6 counts, and each defendant faces a $250,000 per count of conviction. So it looks like they're looking at $1.5 million in penalties each, plus 10 years in jail. We'll have to see how this ends up. We'll see what they end up with and what they get out of this. I bet you they're not going to have much of that $25 million left after they get done paying their lawyers. Hey, good article over in the Washington Post, and this is actually I've seen this news on this in the past. There's a study coming out about weed killer in waterways, and this has been known for a while, but I guess this study has been finalized. That a new study has found that male frogs exposed to the herbicide atrazine, one of the most common man-made chemicals found in U.S. waters, can make a startling developmental U-turn, becoming so. Basically, it causes the male frog to become completely female, minus chromosome changes. The male can actually lay eggs, resulting, because they're adding male chromosomes, it's basically ending up with all male frogs. And there's a big worry here that this is going to be a trickle-down effect, and it's definitely not good for the entire population of animal species, which we fit into but frogs have been very susceptible to this, and changes. What do they say it does? It changes some sort of it actually changes a gene or something that's not supposed to. It causes the frogs to. Well, this is what it does. It causes hormone havoc, and definitely males and females have a different hormone balance, and it makes the frogs have more of a female balance, and so much so that it changes their sex. Scary stuff. Very, very scary. Be careful with your chemicals out there, okay? Really, please, use in moderation. All right, CERN is restarting a Large Hadron Collider. Apparently, they had a little problem over the weekend, but they're getting that thing fired back up. They're going to be, I guess they say they're going to be circulating beams again here tonight. So a little information on that. You guys hear about this thing in Tennessee with Blue Cross? There's a report out on PC World talking about a theft that took place in a Blue Cross office, where apparently Blue Cross, when you do a call with your medical company, they say, "Hey, can we have permission to record this phone call?" You say, "Oh, sure." Or you, by virtue of calling in, they record your conversation. Well, I guess they keep all those hard drives of all those conversations, plus all of the screenshots that are taken like every 30 seconds that you're on a call with them. The image of the screen is captured. Apparently about 300 hard drives, no, 57 hard drives were stolen from a closet at the health insurance company's training center. Now, why they had customer data at a training center, I don't know. But the drives contain recordings of more than 1 million customers, support calls totaling 50,000 hours of conversation. There were also 300,000 screenshots showing what the Blue Cross representative had on their computer monitor at the time. Some calls were made. Now, can you imagine your medical, boom, boom, boom. They're taking pictures of this, and they're talking about, your medical claims. This is stuff that normally you just don't share with people, and all the privacy data that's in there. Well, anyway, they've hired over 500 people, and they've had to go through all this data by hand. And to date, Blue Cross has identified more than 500,000 affected customers and sent notification letters to about 300,000 of them. And as of January 8th, more than 110,000 work hours had been spent reviewing the material. The process has cost more than $7 million so far. It'll be several more months before the notification effort is concluded. So, for those 57 hard drives, don't you think that they could have probably spent a couple of grand on a nice safe? One of those big ones, like a gun case safe, and bolted it into the floor and put those hard drives in there? That's just an incredible amount of money. So please, if you're running a company and you have people's privacy information on it, if you don't have hard drives to remove from your computers, in other words, your desktops, if they don't pop out, and when you secure your business at night and you have your customers' information in there, especially if it's social security numbers and stuff, please consider doing that because, it's a hassle to have to go in the safe and pull them out and put them in the machine every day. But it surely may save you a lot of grief down the road. Now, this next article talks about security as well, but security in China. If you have anybody do any business in China? If you do, if you have a branch office in China, you might as well figure right now at this point that your information that you have on those computers at that branch office is compromised. There's up to 100 companies, after they've done this investigation with Google, these what they're dubbing the Aurora attacks, up to 100 companies have been victims, and some are speculating that really resistance is futile, that this is going to continue. But the way they did this was the attacker socially engineered a victim, often in an overseas office, to visit a malicious website. In other words, called him, talked to him, got him to go to the website. The website uses a browser vulnerability to load custom malware on the victim's machine. Third, the malware calls out to a control server, in other words, a botnet, probably controlled by a dynamic DNS address. Then the attacker escalates his privileges on the corporate Windows network using cache or local administrator credentials. And then the attacker goes into an Active Directory to pull out other passwords and database information. And then the attacker uses cracked credentials to obtain VPN access or create a fake user account. And at this point, you're owned. So this is the kind of the chain of events that are going on, all from someone going to a website that they probably shouldn't have went to in the first place, strictly through social engineering. And it could be anything from emails, telephone calls, Twitter links. I am now at the point where I'm very, very resistant in clicking on any type of Twitter short URL because I never know where I'm going to end up. And it can be a little bit intimidating because you can get infected by going to a certain website. Now, if you live in Texas and you have had a child born since 2002, hold on to your hats. Apparently, and this is over on Slashdot, the Texas Department of State Health routinely collected blood samples from newborns to screen for a variety of health conditions before they're throwing samples out. But beginning in 2002, the Department of State Health Services contracted with Texas A&M University to store blood samples for potential use in medical research. These accumulated at a rate of 800,000 per year. The DSHS did not obtain permission from the parents to do this, who apparently sued and settled in 2009. So apparently there's been a lawsuit already. But now the Tribune, I guess this is Dallas Tribune, is revealing that wasn't the end of the matter. It turns out between 2003 and 2007, the Department of State Health Services in Texas gave 800 blood samples to the Armed Forces DNA Identification Laboratory to help create a national mitochondrial DNA database. And this was data that was required with the Freedom for Information Act. Apparently, samples were part of a larger program to build a national, perhaps international DNA database that could be used to track down missing persons and solve cold cases. I know when I was in the military, every military person gives a DNA sample that goes on file with the DOD. And it's obviously for reasons if you're out in combat and you get killed and it's 20 years later and they recover your body, they can figure out who you are. But most federal employees have got their DNA on file. Pretty scary stuff to think that your kid's DNA is out there floating around in some military database or with the Texas A&M. Wow. Shocking. Really, really shocking. All right, Metallica. Metallica's been hates online file sharing. They were They sued Napster back in the day. There's just, they've really been anti-internet. Well, Metallica earned $22.8 million from touring last year, but it made $1.6 million in album sales. Okay, $22.8 million in concert sales, but they only made $1.6 million from album sales. Don't you think if they would just give the music away, don't you think that would drive more people to go to? I would have no desire to buy Metallica music at this time. But if they were given away, I probably would. And maybe that would interest me in going to a concert. And they're worried about record sales? Now, hey, everyone wants money. Don't get me wrong, but there's more than one way to skin a cat in this day and age. Over on Tech Dirt, even senators hated NBC Universal's Olympic coverage. Apparently, there's been some letter sent to NBC. Senator Herb Kohl apparently sent a letter to NBC Universal's boss, Jeff Zucker, asking him to explain why NBC Universal's Olympic coverage was so incredibly lame. More specifically, he questioned if NBC's incredibly restrictive online Olympics videos, much more restricted than 2 years ago at Beijing, is a preview of what is to come with respect to TV programs shown on the internet. Kind of interesting. Hey, we're going to talk about another senator here a little later in the show, because I got sucked into an article by Mark Cuban. We got a good audio comment at the end of the show you guys are going to like to listen to, and I'm being admonished, so you guys will have fun listening to that. I got to get moving here, or I'm going to go really long again. Hey, guys, there's a website, helpareporterout.com. Basically, journalists can go over there and say, hey, I'm looking to talk to people that know about this subject. Well, apparently, someone else has launched a website that's similar, and the individual that started helpareporterout.com, I think his name is Peter Shankman, he has sicked the lawyers on the guy that's starting out the competiting service at prmana.com, and basically said, hey, you can't copy my idea. You can't start a business like mine. Sorry, buddy. I don't think that you can do an injunction on someone wanting to start a business to compete with you. I think that's going to be a tough one here, but he's claiming they can't copy the concept. Whatever. I don't think this guy's going to be able. The lawyers are implying that it's illegal to be inspired by another site and to admit it. They imply infringement on copyright, trademarks, and unissued patents, as well as publicity rights and trade dress. Yeah, whatever. You know what? How many of you always look for stuff online that's cool? Wow, I could implement that a little bit differently, better. I could make it twist it this way. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if they got a patent on it, that's a different situation, on a process or something. But, oh boy, I don't know. We'll find out how this one turns out. NASA has performed its final test of the shuttle's solid rocket booster. You think, why are they doing that? I only got like 3 more to go. Why are they still testing? Well, part of the Challenger accident required them to, dictated that they do a number of tests to make sure that the SRBs remain viable. This test was the 52nd in a series of ground tests for the shuttle program dating back to 1977. So the last tests went down, and then, of course, our last shuttle missions are upon us. After I'm getting smacked around at the end of the show, I don't even want to talk about Mark Cuban's latest post, but he does have a good one, and I'll let you guys read it. If free works on the internet, can it work for health insurance? Basically, he says, hey, if you agree to buy all your stuff, everything that you can possibly buy from Walmart, would it be worth it to Walmart to give you free health insurance for shopping there exclusively? Would you guys shop exclusively? You bought everything from Walmart to get free insurance. Would you do that? I bet you there's a lot of you that are independent. You have a small business. Maybe you're paying up to $13,000, $14,000 a year for medical insurance. I'm sure many of you are paying $5,000 and $6,000 a year for medical insurance. That's kind of tempting, isn't it? How many of you would do that? geeknews@gmail.com, voicemail hotline 619-342-7365. For those of you that have a Zune HD, there's a Facebook app now available. You can find that online. I'll have a link to it in the show notes. Rumor on the market that as Apple is prepping its first Mac with an HDMI source, the new Mac Mini may be coming out with an HDMI output. So this is an interesting development. The Apple TV's had one for a long time, so I don't know why they're taking so long to do that. Those of you that party in Asia at all, if you go to Korea, pretty soon Korea's going to have a hangover-free alcoholic beverage. They oxygenate. It's called oxygenating booze. It puts a lot of oxygen into it and helps you sober up quicker. Well, you ask any Airedale, any person that's ever worked on a flight deck, anyone that's ever flown an airplane, anyone that has ever had access to O2. I bet you even hospital staff people. If you went out and done a big binge the night before and you got a little bit of a hangover, there's nothing like pure O2 to sober up. So we've known this forever. But I guess they're going to be putting O2 in a beverage. Now, there are some Korean alcohol that will... I can tell you some stories, but we won't share with the children. Be careful, kids. Don't drink until you're legal, and drink in moderation when you are legal. Take my advice on that. All right, new arbitrary App Store rejection reason. Apple has said, hey, this app has minimum user functionality. It is being rejected. Dear Atlanta Software LLC, we reviewed your application, the Duck Phone. We determined this application contains minimal user functionality and will not be appropriate for the App Store. If you'd like to share it with friends and family, we recommend that you review the ad hoc method on distribution tab of the iPhone developer portal. So in other words, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to get approved. All right, now, if any of you have had to buy a casket, you know, caskets can be expensive. It's something that if you haven't had to do yet or earn or something for a family member, it's something you'll have to do. If you have a will and testament, I encourage you to go down and get your own casket picked out. But if you've got $381,000 laying around, you can get a gold layered casket. Comes with a cell phone. And I don't know how long they pay for the cell phone service. But not only can you be buried in a gold casket, but you can have a cell phone in it with GPS capability. So when the crooks come to look, you want to be dug up, get buried in a gold casket. You know, no, thank you. Who in their right mind would be buried in a gold casket? That would make news everywhere. And you know, some guy be like, hey bro, there's a dude buried in a gold casket. We need some money for the weekend. Let's go dig him up. No way. But yes, it is available. And it's got a cell phone. I wonder if how many years of cell phone service do you get? And by the way, how long does the battery last? Oh, what do they think up next? Oh, hey. Did you know that our days have gotten longer? Well, the earthquake in Chile was so strong that it has extended our day. Oh, excuse me. Shorter. The day got shorter. Oh, no, I don't need a shorter day. The length of the day got shorter by 1.26 milliseconds. And it says the axis of the Earth moved about about 8 centimeters or 3 inches. So this thing was so strong that it actually tilted the Earth 3 inches. You think about that. Think how big the Earth is. And if it shifted the axis by 3 inches? Oh, wow. I'm impressed. So we're tilted just a little bit more. Wow. All right. I saw the coolest thing. I've always wanted, you know, if you live in where it's cold, you want an indoor swimming pool, right? But that's such a waste of space. You know, you want to have this, you know, you just want to, if you live where it's cold, you want to be able to take a swim in the wintertime. If you can afford to have an indoor swimming pool, I recommend that you go check out a company called Hydro Floors. Now, any of you that have been to like Cirque du Soleil or something in Vegas, you'll be familiar with this. This is where the swimming pool has a platform that raises, and that's how they bring them out of the water. But theirs is much faster. It has mesh in it, can go down very quickly. Hydrofloor looks like a floor. You can walk across it. There's no water. You can put a table on top of it, but just don't, have a table on it and push the down button because it'll actually sink, and you got your swimming pool. It'll raise up when you're not wanting to go swim. This is cool. I don't know how much this thing cost, but if you're going to build an indoor swimming pool and can afford this, man, you talk about being able to. Hey, come on over, John. Let's why don't you sit on this side of the table? I'll sit over here. You set your neighbors up. He's not looking, flip the switch, make him go swimming. It's beautiful. Little article over in Gizmodo talking about iPhone piracy, how some app developers have seen as much as a 10% of the apps are actually being pirated, and people aren't paying 99 cents for them. They're actually hacking them so they can use them for free. Come on, people, pay the 99 cents or $2.99 or whatever it is. But yep, some developers are actually seeing piracy in the iPhone App Store and expecting that there's as much as $450 million lost in app sales per year. That's a pretty big number. But anyway, the folks over at Gizmodo have a real long article talking to a variety of different content creators or app developers as well. Hey, Twitter today opened up the fire hose to, I think, about a dozen companies and basically gave them full access to the full feed of the Twitter stream. Now, Twitter has got a developer community that has over 50,000 applications out there. Isn't that crazy? 50,000 applications built around the Twitter, So anyway, they've opened up the API, opened up the Twitter fire hose for a number of companies. There's no rumor yet. Actually, it's free, but at some point, those companies are going to have to start ponying up for the access. They're not saying how much or anything like that. But what do you think it's going to cost those companies to get access to that fire hose, that full pipe of Twitter post? Now, imagine you've built a company up. You've made it's been bought. You're sitting around, don't have nothing to do. Some venture capitalists are willing to pay you to come and sit in an office for 6 months and pay you $10,000 to $15,000 a month to just think and come up with an idea. If some company wants to pay me $15,000 a month just to sit around and think and come up with some ideas, we can do some crazy stuff. I can come up with a lot of ideas. 15 grand, absolutely. I will dedicate 8 hours a day to thinking about new businesses for 15 grand a month. Would you guys do that? Wow. Now, a lot of these VCs now are they're doing startup universities. They're having a lot of portfolio companies that are just basically, they're out farming around looking for different things. They're doing bar camps where they're bringing in young entrepreneurs, bounce ideas off others and so forth. So the VCs are really trying to up their game, but this is what they're doing. They're paying some people just to kind of sit around and think. Man, I need one of those gigs. All right, searching Google Buzz and more. If you're looking to search, that's something that, did you guys know? You guys know that a lot of stuff on Google Buzz is public to the internet? Some of the threads you've started, they can be searched and found, and it's a weird relationship there. So I'm trying to look at how that's affecting search results, and I've seen some negative impact on some of the stuff that I do. So I'm being very careful about what I buzz about publicly in my profile. But you can use buzzy.com to do some searching and stuff on Google to find information that's going out in Google Buzz. All right, Scoble's got a good write-up on the new worldwide startup. And this is basically, everyone that's not in Silicon Valley complains, about this all the time. People say there's not enough capital if you're not in the Valley. Most people say you can't get access to PR. Just like I'm looking for a PR guy right now, someone freelance. Most non-Valley companies say that the good ones get dragged into Silicon Valley. That's what VCs tell you. You want to take our money, you got to come live in Silicon Valley. You got to be underneath underneath my finger. Many of the folks that are outside the Valley complain about a lack of entrepreneur culture. and this is probably true, but there are some changes that are afoot, and Scoville's got some good write-up here. Have the link up in the show notes. Very worthy read for all of you that are thinking about starting a business or have one, a new startup. All right, Facebook users prefer broadcast media. And I think the reason that they do, and this is my hypothesis here, is it's because a lot of them are just not early adopters. There was a study done. Facebook users largely go to the Weather Channel, CNN, Yahoo News, MSNBC, People Magazine, Fox News, Google News, AccuWeather, Drudge Report. People that get their news over at or spend a lot of time on Google News go to the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, Reuters, CNN, USA Today, New Daily News, BBC, Huffington Post. So a lot of people that are on the just looking at news stuff do texty text stuff. People that are on Facebook go to traditional broadcast media. Pretty good report here. So I know all of you guys are early adopters and are probably on the Google News side of the fence, but I find myself in Facebook a couple times a day now, probably more than I want to be, but and you can follow me on Facebook if you're not already. Just do a search for me, Todd Cochran, there, and you'll find me. But kind of interesting demographic and that's developing between those two user bases. I got a good article here. I'm a little bit more on the ACTA, and I just linked this in. I'm not even going to read this. This is way boring stuff, so I have this linked up for those of you that are looking for more information on that. But this entitled this is over at michaelgeist.ca. It's where the website is. Major ACTA leak internet and civil enforcement chapters with country positions. So basically it talks about what each country's position is on these civil enforcement clauses. Most disturbing news of the day is Google has won a patent for local location-based advertising. And so that means if you are trying to put in any type of location-based directed advertising in any type of media, you may have to license something from Google. This is a big one. This is huge. This is big. It is really, really big. And so there's a lot of companies that are going to be affected with it. I don't do location-based advertising, okay? You guys just get it, fire hose, okay? Production delays may mean iPad inventories may be tight at launch. So, Big Odie, I don't know when yours is going to get there, but, as soon as we can order them, I'll be ordering it. But production delays may mean iPad inventories are low at launch. Not surprising here. And that's it for regular content tonight. Let me go ahead and get into the voicemails. If you have a comment on tonight's show, again, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. That's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your commenting pleasure. You can rip me one, or you can leave a positive comment, whatever your choice may be. And again, as a reminder, next couple of shows are be as scheduled here. And, of course, we have South by Southwest coming up. If you're going to be in the Austin area, let me know. Try to do some sort of a meetup. Be out in Silicon Valley the following week. We'll do something in and around San Jose on the 19th. That's Friday the 19th of March. And then I'll be back in the Dallas-Fort Worth area the week of the 22nd. I'm going to be all over Texas that week, okay? So don't know exactly what my schedule is. I'm spending a lot of time in Texas, and I really can't talk about that. But for to say, it's a good thing. It is. It's a good thing here for the old geekster here. And those locations are going to shift. I know I'm going to spend some time on the West Coast. I'm going to be spending more time in probably doing some time in New Mexico. Definitely on the East Coast. Going to do a lot of stuff on the East Coast in the summertime. So I'm going to be spending stuff in New York, Boston. We'll be up and down the Eastern Seaboard a lot in the later, probably in the summertime. So a lot of good stuff happening on the consulting side for me as far as new media goes. So I'll keep you advised there. But anyway, let me go ahead and play this audio comment. The first one is 12 seconds. I wonder what this one is. I can almost bet this is probably some scam artist trying to get me to buy something. Let's listen in and see what they have to say.
In BigMoneyATM.com. Enjoy the site, BigMoneyATM.com. Or press 3 now to be placed on our do not call list.
I can't press 3. Dude, don't go there, folks. That's just some... those folks ought to be sued. That is just so wrong. Okay, here comes the next voicemail.
Hey, Todd, this is Clint.
Hey,
calling
Clint.
From Houston. It's about 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, and they're talking on the air about the possible arrival of a tsunami over there in Honolulu. Your next podcast, can you tell us kind of what y'all experienced or what your family did to be safe? Anyway, hope all is going well, and look forward to that next podcast. Bye-bye.
Hey, Clint, thanks for calling, and thanks for the thought. And yeah, we just basically, I'm 1,000 feet above sea level, and as I said earlier in the show, really didn't go anywhere. We just stayed home, but I had a number of friends that came up here and hung out. They were within the inundation zone, or basically where the surge would have come in. And they've got basically in Honolulu, we've got in the white pages, in the phone book, there's about a 6 or 7 page instructions on what to do for both hurricanes and tsunamis. And a big siren system throughout the entire state, 6 a.m. Honolulu Standard Time. They did the first sirens and followed by every hour. I really couldn't hear them here because they didn't put them up, but it was a great real-world drill, I guess for better words. Everything went perfect. They did a great job, got people out. They had it was a voluntary evacuation. I know a lot of people didn't leave their homes, but the state did a great job. They really did. No one's complaining about them. So, but it was one of those things that ended well. No one got hurt here in Hawaii. Again, our thoughts and prayers goes out to those folks in Chile for their loss. But anyway, everything was good here. But thanks, Clint, for your comment. Okay, here comes the next voicemail.
Hey, Todd, this is Bennett from Philly.
Hey, Bennett.
I'm just calling about the Apple thing and the iPad and the application restrictions. See, to me, it seems like Apple just keeps shooting themselves in the foot. They got such a great thing going, but they're making it hard for developers to make an app, and now they got this morality junk to me that doesn't mean anything. But like you said, they got the Playboy app and the Sports Illustrated app. What they tell you is that their morality only go as deep as their pockets go. So if you got enough money to pay them off, then of course your app will get approved. And, that's just the way they think. Like I said, I'm really getting sick of Apple and all the stuff that they're doing, but they do make a good product, which I can't deny. And that's basically it. Love your show.
Hey, thanks for calling, and thanks for commenting on what's going on with Apple and their morality police. And, of course, as you heard tonight, they're now deciding if minimal functions. I guess that tap app where you just tap it. Yeah, I've got it on my phone. My kids loaded it up because they like to see me get frustrated with it, but it's good for like 5 minutes and you're like, okay, move on. So I guess we're not going to see those apps anymore, but again, I guess if you're wearing a coat and tie and you're in the app store, and that's probably acceptable. Other than that, no skin, except of course in Playboy. Oh man, it's crazy. Okay, now this next voicemail I did listen to because it was accompanied by an email. All right, I will stand admonished before we ever start. I think you're going to get a chuckle out of this, and this is in response to Mark Cuban's article on Senator Al Franken. And apparently, I did not read close enough. You guys got to remember, sometimes I'm trying to get the show ready, and I skim, and I go to a paragraph that's got the bullet point, and I said, "Oh man, he's trying to say we have to have more bandwidth caps," and it turns out it wasn't exactly that. So I'll just leave it at that, and I'll come back to this after this. But I think you guys are going to recognize this voice. This is one of our longtime listeners of the show, and yes, you need to do a podcast, dude. Here it comes.
Todd, Brian here in Brooklyn.
Hey, Brian.
Well, I'm glad to know that you're not going to be broadcasting from your submarine, the aquatic mobile studio.
That's right. I'm still here.
Thank goodness for that, because that fellow that was complaining about your audio quality a couple shows back,
yep,
he'd really be upset about that, huh?
He would. Bubble.
I can't believe that. Of all things to complain about, I didn't read his blog, but, when the audio drops out completely, that's bad. But it happens to a lot of broadcasts
Yes,
and
it does.
podcasts, including the ones with huge budgets. He was complaining about the mobile studio audio quality, was he? I mean, does that mean he would prefer to have no show at all when you're traveling?
Yep.
You know, I think what you should do to weed out these listeners, you should record the show with a $10 headset for a few weeks.
Well, we did that
Weed
before.
out these superficial audiophile type listeners. You know, personally, I'd rather hear a authentic blues man sitting on his front porch with a $5 harmonica than some formally educated musician in a multi-million-dollar studio, some Juilliard student doing some phony down-home blues number.
You're right.
You know, maybe that's just me, but I don't listen to your show to hear the superb, full richness on my $5,000 mega super ultra surround system. But I don't know. Maybe he was talking about the video quality. But I hope not. I mean, it is Ustream, you
That's
know?
right. High quality.
What does he do? Upconvert it and watch it on his Blu-ray player?
Probably.
All right. I defended you enough, Todd. You screwed up, man.
Yes, I did.
You need to make a correction.
I have.
I understand you're a very busy man, but you need to read a little deeper than the headlines on some of these articles before you comment on them.
I do.
This article you read the headline from in the last show from Mark Cuban's blog titled, Al Franken is requesting bandwidth caps on internet users.
Yep.
Todd, when has Mark Cuban ever said anything positive about small media
Never.
or user-generated content?
Never.
When is he not defending walled gardens and huge corporate media?
Never. He's
Come
always
on, man, you know that.
Yes,
After that scolding that Franken gave Comcast,
That's true.
which you pointed out to us a couple shows back.
And I will have to hand it to the to Senator Al Franken. He put this guy to the task, and I guess
He did.
It looks like he's being very serious in his job. I didn't know how that was going to work out with him, but he called this guy to the table. It was a pretty good one. So anyway, I have that link up for you in the show notes. Of course, it's involved with the NBC/Comcast merger.
You really think Cuban is going to expose someone for wanting bandwidth caps? If it were true, Cuban would be hush-hush about it, or defending Franken. What Cuban actually says is if Franken had it his way, this is what he imagines. This is what Cuban imagines.
Yeah, that's right. I got
He
it messed
says
up.
if Franken had it his way and Comcast NBC had to deliver their show to a large group of consumers on the internet, it would mean higher internet rates and or caps. Those are Cuban's words, not Franken's. Franken never said anything about bandwidth caps. Cuban says your request would jack up everyone's internet bill. Put caps on usage. That's Cuban's words. You know what this amounts to? It's Cuban's feeble attempt at sarcasm. You know, only place I'll give him credit is knowing the limited attention span of today's Twitter headline-only content consumers.
Is that me?
He knows people see that headline and run with it without reading the rest. You know, it really borders on slander. It really does. It'd be like me saying, that Todd Cochran, what does that guy want? Bandwidth caps? I mean, if he keeps pushing all these podcasts out, it's going to force our rates up higher. No different. Franken says the internet is the future of media business. Cuban says, dead wrong, not even close. Cuban says in a smart-aleck way, let me explain to you the future of the internet, Mr. Franken. Cuban just needs to go away. He's always trying to shove some protected big media business model down our throats with this I know better than everyone else attitude. I hope you do the right thing and correctly inform everyone here instead of promoting Cuban's misinformation campaign.
You
All right,
just did.
Those of you from Minnesota that voted for Senator Al Franken, the dear senator is requesting user caps on internet bandwidth. I could go on for this for about an hour. Aren't you glad you voted for this guy? Link will be up in the show notes. Okay? If you didn't vote for him, whew, my goodness. Can you believe he said
You
this?
made a mistake.
I
He
did.
wants user caps? A senator wants user caps put on our bandwidth? My goodness. Give me a break.
Todd, for consumers and small media companies, he's one of your best allies. I think you owe them Minnesota voters an apology. Please, aloha.
Aloha. You know something? That was a good rant that I had, though. It really was a good rant. I felt good when I said that. But now, in the hindsight's 2020, and I have been corrected, as the good listeners of this show should do all the time when I mess up like this, I stand corrected and I apologize to the voters of the state of Minnesota. And I apologize to, of course, the good senator for not giving credit where credit is due. So thanks for calling me out. Thanks for straightening me out on that. And thanks for getting the whole audience squared away, too. Because, that's what's needed. That's what you guys are all about. And that's what Johanna's all about. A good family member would call me to the carpet just like that. It's a beautiful thing. That's what I love about the listeners of this show. And by the way, what kind of a microphone are you using? Because it sounds really good. Something tells me we don't know the rest of the story, because you have got to have some job in broadcast radio or television, so we have to sleuth around and figure out what industry you work in, because you got some great chops, dude. I keep telling you, you got to do a podcast, and the way you deliver it, you'd have a big audience. You really would. You would probably exceed the geek here at Geek News Central. I have no doubt about it. But anyway, thanks for the voicemail. That's what it's all about, folks. That's where I want you guys to call in and call me to the table when I do stuff like that. Straighten me out. Anyway, as always, it's been my pleasure to bring you the show tonight. And going to wrap this thing up, and I'll be back with you Thursday for a live show. Of course, Friday release of the podcast. Did talk to the folks at iTunes. Finally, I raised enough havoc that finally the show updated today, but they forced it again. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on whether or not the show updates tonight. Now, here's what I need you to do. If you're getting the show through iTunes, hit refresh, okay? You got to go into the podcast section in iTunes, hit refresh on my listing. It'll update. It's there. It's just because iTunes is being slow or whatever. But I'm hoping what they did today will have fixed the issue with the show not showing up there. Really aggravating on my part, and a lot of people have missed the show because of it, because they don't know about hitting that refresh button. But I'll be sending information out in the newsletter tonight. Of course, there's an article about it up on geeknewscentral.com as well on what to do to make sure you always get the show. All right, folks, it's been great. Look forward to hearing feedback on the show. 619-342-7365 is the voicemail number. Of course, geeknews@gmail.com. We'll see you next Friday, everyone. Take care, and aloha.